Hi friends, this is CA Kiran Kumar. In this video, let's move into the next part of our GST series, that is part 7, place of supply under GST. Till now we have completed 6 parts under GST series. Now we are moving to the place of supply, that is part 7 of GST series. Place of supply plays a major role in deciding whether you have to charge IGST or CGST, SGST. So if you see in GST portal, while you are uploading the GST invoice, it will ask for place of supply. So basically place of supply decides whether you have to charge CGST, SGST or IGST. So while deciding the place of supply, there are 5 elements important you need to consider while you are deciding for place of supply. They are location of the place of service provider and location of service receiver and place where the activity takes place or performance takes place and place where the service is consumed and place a person to which the actual benefits flows. While you are deciding for place of supply, you need to consider these 5 things. And for deciding place of supply, we have divided the whole service of goods and services into 4 categories. Now we are discussing about category 1, that is place of supply of goods other than supply of goods imported into or exported from India. And in case of supply involving moving of goods, there is movement of goods. In case of movement of goods, then the place of supply is the location of these goods at the time when the movement of the goods terminates. Means, suppose you can see the example. AB Limited of Nasik, Maharashtra sells 20 refrigerators to CD Limited of Ahmedabad, Gujarat for the delivery at the place of business of CD Private Limited in Ahmedabad. Then the place of supply is Ahmedabad because the movement of the goods terminates on Ahmedabad. So here we have taken Ahmedabad as place of supply. And in case of supply of movement of goods, where the goods are delivered to the recipient on the instruction of the third person. On the instruction of the third person, we have supplied the goods. Then the place of supply will be the location at the instruction of the third party. And here you can see the example. And in case of there is not involving movement of goods, then in this case the place of supply will be the location of such goods at the time of delivery to the recipient. Suppose a private limited has leased mission of cost 8 lakhs to B Limited, which is located in Noida, Uttar Pradesh, for the production of goods on a monthly rent of 40,000. After 14 months, B Private Limited requested A Private Limited to sell the mission to 4 lakhs, which is agreed to by A Private Limited. In this case, there will be no movement of goods because it's a machinery, and the same will be sold on yes where it is basis. So the location of the mission will be the place of supply, that is in this case Noida. And in case of supply involving installation or assembly of goods, and in this case the place of supply will be the place of such installation of assembly. And goods supplied on board conveyance, here you can see the example. In case of on board a conveyance, the location where such goods have been taken on board will be the place of supply. You can refer the example. Now we are moving to the second category, that is place of supply of goods imported into or exported from India. In case of import of goods, the place of supply of goods is the place where the importer is located in case of import of goods. And in case of export of goods, place of supply will be the destination outside India. Now we are moving to the third category, that is place of supply of service, where the location of the supplier of service and the location of the supplier of the recipient of service is in India, is both are in India. Then in this case the general rule will be, if the place of supply, if the services provided to a registered person, then the location of receiving services will be the place of supply. However, the services supplied to unregistered person, and in this case the place of supply is the location of such unregistered person if the address of the unregistered person is available on the records, or if the unregistered person address is not available, then in such cases the location of supplier of services will be the place of supply. In case of services in relation to an immovable property or lodging, accommodation in a hotel or boat or vessel, etc. In such cases, the place of supply will be the place where such immovable property or the boat or vessel is intended to located is the place of supply. You can refer these examples I have given here. You can refer it on your ebook. And in case of a restaurant and catering service and person grooming, fitness, beauty and health services, if you see, all these are service oriented. I have already told you that service oriented cases, place of supply will be the place where the service provider provides his service. Here in this case, the place of supply will be the location where the services are actually performed. So we have to remember that tip. And in case of training, performance and appraisal services, in case of these services, if you are providing services to a registered recipient, then the place of supply will be the location of such person. And in case of B2C supplies, means unregistered person, you are providing services to an unregistered person, then the place of supply will be the actual place where the services are actually performed. And in case of services by way of admission to events or amusement park or other places, this is also service oriented. So in this case also, the place of supply will be the event actually held or where the park or such other place is located. And in case of organization of events, if such service is provided to a person, then the place of supply is the location of the recipient. And in case of services provided to an unregistered recipient, that is unregistered person, the place of supply will be the location where the event is actually held. And the event is held outside India, and in such cases the place of supply is the location of the recipient. And in case of telecommunication service, you have divided into three categories. There are three different categories because there is prepaid service, postpaid service and other services also. We need to discuss one by one. In case services provided using fixed telecommunication line and leasing circuits and internet leased circuit, cable or dish antenna, you are providing these type of services, then the location where the telecommunication line or leased circuit or cable connection or dish or antenna is installed for the recipient of service will be the place of supply. And in case of postpaid mobile connection and postpaid internet services, in such cases the location of billing address of such recipient of service in the records of the supplier of services will be the place of supply. And the location of such supplier of service if the address is not available. In case of address available, the location of the recipient of service, and if the address is not available, location of supplier of service will be the place of supply. And in case of prepaid mobile connection and prepaid internet and DTH services, in such cases address of the selling agent or reseller or distributor at the time of supply will be the place of supply. And in case of financial stock brokering services, in case of financial and stock brokering services, the place of supply of banking and other financial services including stock brokering services to any person, then the place of supply is the location of the recipient services in the records of the supplier of service. And in case if the location of the recipient is not available, then in such cases obviously location of the supplier of services will be the place of supply. Place of supply of service where the location of supply or location of the recipient is outside India. Any one of such person is outside India. In such cases, generally the general rule will be the place of supply of service is the location of the recipient of such services. However, if the location of the recipient of services is not available in the ordinary course of business, and the place of supply is the location of supplier of services. This is the ordinary and general case. In case of performance based services, in case of services requiring physical presence of goods on which the services are performed, in such case the location of supply, the place of supply will be the location where the service is actually performed. And services supplied in respect of goods that are provided to a remote location by an electronic means then the place of supply will be the location where the goods are situated at the time of supply of service, and the service supplied to an individual which requires physical presence of the recipient, then in such cases the place of supply will be the location where the service is actually performed. And you can refer these examples in ebook, you can download it from the Telegram. And services in relation to the immovable property, then the place of supply will be the location of such immovable property, and services by way of admission to and or an organization of events or celebration, etc. And in such case the place of supply will be the place where the event is actually held. And in case of banking, financial services, intermediary services, and hiring of means of transport, in such cases the place of supply will be the location of supplier of services. And in case of transportation services, the place of supply will be the place of destination of such goods. And you can refer these examples I have already clearly given. And so this is for the day. Thank you very much. For more interesting updates and for the GST service, you can click on subscribe and you can share the same to your friends. Thank you very much. Signing off.